The Legend of the Galactic Heroes OVA series is one of my favorite anime. The 110-episode epic covers small and galactic-scale wars with hundreds of characters, the memorable of whom are some of the most legendary figures in anime. It was my number 2 show of the year in 2015, and my opinion of it has only strengthened with time, just like wine. But today we're not talking about that series, we're talking about its prequel, 2 series of OVAs about 26 episodes each, done by different studios after the original series had wrapped up. Legend of the Galactic Heroes Gaiden, 100 billion stars, 100 billion lights, and Gaiden, Spiral Labyrinth. Those are long titles. On the one hand, it's easy to understand why the various stories of Gaiden were not part of the original series. They're largely smaller in scale, more focused narratives about the earlier lives of the show's biggest figures, Reinhard and Siegfried, and young Wenli. On top of that, they're not all the most engaging stories in the grand mythos of the Galactic Heroes expanded universe. For example, one story is shenanigans are going on in the aristocracy, so Reinhard volunteers to duel for someone, and the opponents they're going up against are just blatantly dicks for little apparent reason. So aside from wanting to see Reinhard shoot a guy, there's not as much going on as, say, Reinhard having to navigate an assassination attempt with no access to weapons, having to talk down a guy who has genuine reason to want him dead. But that's not to say there's no stories of interest in this prequel series. Hell, just look at how high I've ranked it. This prequel series happens to have some of my favorite moments of the whole franchise. For instance, there's this one snowbound confrontation. An officer who has it out for Reinhard and is secretly planning to kill him goes out and catches him during a recon mission. They start talking, and he thinks Reinhard is alone and that his friend is dead. But what the officer doesn't know is that Reinhard knows what he's plotting, and that his buddy Siegfried is alive, and is manning the tank Reinhard is just in front of. The tension builds as the conversation progresses, with each of them trying to wrangle information out of the other, until it all comes to a head, and...
Kyushiais! Yare!
The scene works so well because it's able to push you farther and farther to the edge of your seat with only the simple action of 2 characters talking, and once the action finally kicks in, it's quick but intense, a satisfying payoff to a huge build-up. Of course, one good scene is not all this prequel has going for it. We get to spend more time with characters who didn't get as much time in the main series. This prequel is almost a reflection of the main series and how much screen time some characters get. The series is poised as this great conflict between Reinhard von Lohengrin and Yang Wenli, so you'd think they get equal screen time, but it's more like a 3-2 ratio favoring Reinhard, and that holds true in the prequel series. Hell, perhaps definitely skewed even more in Reinhard's favor. Though any time with my boy Yang is time well spent, and indeed, Yang Wenli's nonchalant antics are as great as they've ever been.
Yare yare.
In contrast to the main series, Reinhard's bestie Siegfried got a lot more screen time, which was greatly appreciated. He even got to be the star of his own story arc, something that was lacking from the main series. Of course, now that I've seen it, I can understand why there weren't more. Siegfried is probably the most straightforward nice guy in the show, so he couldn't have carried 100 episodes on his own, but still, seeing him be the star just once was pretty nice. The entire Legend of the Galactic Heroes series comes with my highest recommendation, but before you pop on the series due to my glowing praise, a word of warning. This prequel series is not meant to be watched before the main series. It banks on you knowing where these characters end up. So with that in mind, here's the official best watch order for Ginga Eiyuu Densetsu. First, the 59-minute film My Conquest is the Sea of Stars, which essentially acts as a pilot episode for the series. Then, the 90-minute film Overture to a New War, which is a remake of the first 2 episodes of the series. Then you watch the series proper starting at episode 3. Then you watch Gaiden, and after you're done, a hole will be left in your soul, and nothing will ever fill it. Not even that remake that's happening. Oh my god, speaking of which, has anyone seen the trailer for that remake? They look wrong! No! No! Thanks for watching day 25 of 31 Days of Anime 2017. Today was number 7 on this list, Legend of the Galactic Heroes Gaiden. Join me tomorrow for number 6, when we'll jam. Have some fun in the meantime. Thanks again for watching. See you tomorrow.